Virginia Tech acknowledges that we live and work on the Toledo Monacan people's homeland, and we recognize their continued relationships with their lands and waterways. We further acknowledge that legislation and practices like the Memorial Act 1862 enabled the Commonwealth of Virginia to finance and found Virginia Tech through the forced removal of Native nations from their lands, both locally and in Western territories. We must also recognize that enslaved Black people generated revenue and resources used to establish Virginia Tech and were prohibited from attending until 1953. Through inclusive VT, the institutional and individual commitment to ut prosum, that I may serve, in the spirit of community, diversity, and excellence, we commit to advancing a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. So now we're going to go around and quickly do some staff introductions. So if all of the staff could just say their name, their position, what they do, and then just briefly talk about their experiences with taking AP, IB, DE honors classes in high school. I can quickly start us off. My name is Annie Schmidt. I'm a graduate assistant. I've been working at Salem High School and William Fleming High School. In high school, my school didn't have a whole lot of those options for classes. I was able to take like dual enrollment personal finance, which was really helpful for me. And I got to transfer those credits into high school, and I was able to take like AP US history, AP government. And so it was a really good experience for me. It was challenging. Definitely in those years when I was taking it, it was a lot of work, but it really paid off for me that I was able to go into college with like a semester's worth of credits. And I will pass it on to Andrew.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Denton. I'm also a graduate assistant. I work with both Upward Bound and Talent Search. My primary schools that I work with are Bassett and Franklin. I also visited Andrew Lewis this past week, which was a good time. Hope everyone's doing well. It's a very pretty Saturday here. I did have snow on my car, Kara. And thinking about AP dual stuff in high school, I had a really, really great experience. I had a lot of courses that I was available to take. And I mainly took like humanities type stuff like English and history AP exams, but I took dual enrollment math classes, and they were really challenging, just like Annie said, but they were also incredibly rewarding. They taught me a lot of great skills that I've used in college, and I came into college with like 30 something credits, and it allowed me to graduate early. So I'm a big advocate for these kind of courses. So I'll go ahead and pass it to Joe.
Well, hey, I'm Joe Lyle. I'm a project advisor with Talent Search. Admittedly, when I was in high school back in the Stone Age, I didn't have AP courses or dual enrollment available to me. We did, however, fight very hard with administration and won to get an honors English class. So I consider that kind of an achievement that we actually upped the game on our own a little bit. But more importantly, when I went back to college as an adult, I was involved in a program that allowed me to take CLEP tests. Those are college level examination placement tests. Now, what they are is basically the test component of the AP class. You just take the test, right? And it worked out really well for me. I got 14 credit hours, a whole semester's worth of credits for $240, I think. So it was an incredibly good deal, saved me a lot of money, and certainly made the time that I had to spend catching up and finishing my degree a lot shorter. So if you have access to these classes now, take them. I wish I had. And I'll send it over to Kara.
Hello. Okay, so my name's Kara. I'm the other Talent Search project advisor. So I'll be honest, I had minimal opportunities for AP and dual enrollment. It was more of a teacher-based referral thing. But when I did get referred for the AP, I made it to the test, but I didn't do well enough on the test for it to transfer in as a college credit. However, I did have the dual enrollment options, and I ended up being ahead, kind of like Andrew, so that I could double major. I could have graduated early, but I just used the extra credits to get ahead and double major. So the dual enrollment definitely worked out better for me, and I got a lot of credits out of that. But the AP, it wasn't my forte, but yes, it was definitely recommended if you have the options as well. Talk to your guidance counselors. And I'll pass it to Fran.
Good morning, I'm Fran. I'm the director of TRIO programs, and I just wanted to let you know a little bit my mixed experience with AP. As far as I know, our high school did not have dual enrollment when I was in high school. If they did, I was completely unaware of it. I had a lot of friends who participated in governor's school, and they may have had an opportunity to get some college credits that way. But as far as I knew, it wasn't available. But AP credits were, and I took several AP classes. And they were a good experience to prepare me for life after high school. My AP history class is the one that taught me how to read a lot of information and synthesize it very much in the same way that a college course would be taught. I opted to go from AP English my junior year to regular English my senior year because of the reputation of the AP instructor. But going down in rigor, like taking an AP class to go to a regular class, I think may have been one of the factors that affected it at a university that I applied to that I didn't get in. I think there were several factors, but I think that was one of them. They saw me taking high, difficult classes and then sliding down my senior year. So, I think one of the things that we do want to encourage everyone to do is stick it out, even though senioritis is real, but stick it out with the hard courses until you graduate. But my AP government class, I didn't take any of the AP exams. I was concerned about the payment. I was concerned that I would pay, I don't remember how much it was, but it was like $80 an exam, and I wasn't going to pass any of them. So I would be out all that money and not get any credits for it. And honestly, that was a mistake. My AP government class was my poli-sci class my first semester freshman year. It was the same textbook. It was the same assignments, the same readings. I mean, it was an easy A, but it was a waste of a class for me. And even if I wouldn't have gotten credit in the others, 100%, I would have gotten credit for that. It was like poli-sci 103, like local government or something, but that was my AP government class in history. So I would really encourage you all to think about taking the AP exams and, giving it a shot to see if you can get it. I mean, my instructor was really funny. He spent most of the class doing stand-up on politics, versus lecturing. So, in some ways it was enjoyable, but it really was a waste of a class and, waste of the tuition for that class, as opposed to whatever that AP exam cost would have been. So definitely give it a shot. And if you need help with payment options, a lot of times your schools will help you with that. But if not, talk to us and we'll see what we can help you figure out. But Callie has rejoined us. Welcome, Callie. I'll pass it back to you for an introduction.
Yes, hi. Good to see you all. My name is Callie. I am a GA with Patrick Henry High School. Was the question about AP classes? Yeah, okay. So my favorite AP class, it's between my lit classes. I'm a big reading nerd. I always love those. And AP Psych, that's what got me into counseling. So those are my two favorite for sure.
All right, I think that was all the staff. So thank you everyone for sharing your experience with that. Now I want to transition into just a quick icebreaker for all of you students. So we're going to do some would you rather questions. So for the first option, you can do the clapping reaction on Zoom. For the second option, you can do the thumbs up. So I've sent that in the chat. So you'll just go to reactions and click the appropriate one for the would you rather part that aligns with you. So first one, would you rather not use your computer for a month or not eat junk food for a month? There seem very mixed reactions on that one. All right, see next one. Would you rather live in Narnia or go to school at Hogwarts? Yeah, that's a hard one for me. Seeing quite a few thumbs up, but also a lot of clapping. Let's see. Would you rather be a teacher at your school or the janitor? Lots of teachers. Would you rather be invisible or be able to fly? I think we've just about split every single one of these. Let's see. Would you rather sing in front of your whole school or be in a spelling bee in front of your whole school? That one definitely had more spelling bees. Would you rather get the highest SAT score in your school or be the best athlete at your school? Let's see. Would you rather live on a plant or in the ocean? Yeah, again, we're like splitting all of these. Let's see, would you rather have to listen to music all of the time or never be able to listen to music? Definitely most people would rather listen to music all the time for that. Would you rather live without your phone for 2 weeks or your computer for a month? Would you rather live 100 years in the future or go 100 years in the past? Does anybody have any appropriate would you rather questions that they would like to ask? You can send them in the chat or unmute yourself.
Would you rather be the tallest person in the world or shortest?
Would you rather be the tallest person in the world or the shortest? Good question, Julian. Any other would you rather questions before we move on to the next thing?
Just thinking about the arthritis for the last one. I got enough of it. I don't want to be any taller.
All right, I think that's about it. Thank you everybody for participating in that. Oh, would you rather live with a cat or a dog? Oh, and then let's see, after that, Jason had a good question. Would you rather go to college or work the rest of your life? Okay, last question. Would you rather have no hair or no teeth? Y'all came up with some good questions. All right. Fran, do you want me to go ahead and do breakout rooms, or was there something else before that?
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Just to let everybody know, seniors are going to go into a breakout room that Amy is going to create. Anybody else, stay put. So we'll take just a minute to do.
Yeah, so I
if
just
you're a-
opened a breakout room for the seniors. If you're a senior, please go ahead and join that one.
Good morning, everybody. Got a bunch of seniors here. Sunshine, I know you. Do I know the rest of you? I don't know if I know you guys or not. I remember you, Sunshine. You went with us. I went with you down to Greensboro this week. Anyone else from the trip this weekend? I don't recognize any names. And I can't see your faces, doggone it. Oh, hi, Julian. How are you? I do know Julian. He's one of my students. Where are you, Julian? Are you like in an airplane? I can't hear it. Anyway, good to see you. So anyway, we're going to talk today a little bit about kind of the last stages of financial aid. I call it the last thoughts. I'm going to look at some student loans. We're going to talk about the different kinds of student loans. We're also going to consider the current student loan crisis and the implications of that and what's going on. Along with that, I want to investigate what the value of the education is and some of your reasons for going into that, because I think that before you sign your name on the line for a whole lot of money, you need to be clear about what you're after and what you want to do with it. Also want to reintroduce the idea of looking for scholarships. I know that most of the seniors I work with and have over the years kind of ignore scholarships till the very end. And that's unfortunate because that's free money. And that free money can liberate you from a lot of payments in the future. So I'm going to talk a little bit about scholarships, particularly ones that are available to Virginia students. Julian, you're unleashing noise upon us.
Oh, okay. My bad. Oh, I'm on a train.
Oh, you're on a train. Excellent. Where are you going?
Yeah. DC.
Oh, cool. Well, that sounds like
Yeah.
Well, why don't you mute so I can continue raving, okay?
Okie dokie.
Thank you, sir. Anyway, we're going to talk about scholarships because you really need to be looking for those, even now, maybe even especially now. And last but not least, I'm going to be talking about comparing financial aid offers and looking at the letters and what you need to know going into accepting that, because you know they can make you all the offers, but until you accept it, you're not going to get it. So let me share the screen here, and we will go to my PowerPoint. Yeah, I'll go to screen two in case I need to bring other stuff. There we go. And let me get the control panel up here so I can see what's going on. So like I said, these are the things we're going to be talking about. And, you know, right now, if you've been watching the news and you've been paying attention to what they're saying there, and let me get the chat room up in case anyone has anything to say. All over the news, they're talking about, will President Biden cancel the student debt, this looming crisis? They talk about that the amount that the country has tied up in student debt is going to be a much worse crisis if it all blows up than was the 2008 housing crisis, which was pretty bad, to be honest with you. Right now, the banks are reselling these debts just like they did those unfortunate mortgages back in 2008. And so, you know, student debt, not only is it a problem for us, but it may be a problem for the entire country. So you need to think about that student debt. And I want everyone to be very much aware that it can be a problem. Now, the first thing in dealing with student debt and assuming your own student debt and deciding how much debt you want to take on is to think about what kind of loans there are out there. Well, the main ones come from the US government, and they are direct loans. Those loans come directly to you. They're not your parents' loans. They're not anyone else in conjunction with you loans. They're just yours. And you are responsible for paying for them. And currently, the way the law is, you will pay for them one way or the other. Now, they have some cool repayment plans where you don't have to pay so much up front, and they'll work with you. But ultimately, it's almost impossible to get these loans discharged in a bankruptcy court, which means that even if you fall in hard times, they're going to be looking for their money. With complete and total disability, they will sometimes discharge it. With amazingly difficult circumstances that have befallen you, sometimes they will discharge it. You won't have to pay them if you're dead, but your estate will. So if you're planning on leaving something to someone else and are in default of your student loans, well, remember that's going to come off the top. So these are pretty serious, and they're direct to you. There are two types. The first type is the direct subsidized loan. That's the one over here in the blue, right? These guys. The subsidized loans are subsidized by the government in that they pay the interest on these loans while you're in school. Now, these are need-based. These are loans that are offered to people who need the money, so you can borrow without interest while you're in school. They figure that's helping you out. The school does determine how much you can borrow. It's all based on their cost of attendance. And it can't exceed how much you need to go to school. It can't exceed that cost of attendance. The U.S. Department of Education pays the interest on those subsidized loans while you're in school half-time. Now, for the first 6 months after you're out of school, they're going to pay your interest as well until you start assuming payments. And if you have to have a period of deferment, which means that they give you a break from paying your repayment for a year, a break, while you're getting your own personal finances in order. A lot of people, when they first come out of school, aren't ready to start paying their loans back 6 months right after school. Maybe they haven't gotten a good job yet. Maybe they're still looking. Maybe they're trying to get established. So getting that deferment up front, well, that's not the end of the world. You don't want to if you don't have to, but it's not. And they will pay the interest on it while you have that deferment. A very good thing, because during the periods you're not paying on your loan, you're not accumulating interest. Now, the subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, different matter altogether. With an unsubsidized loan, first of all, they're going to let you borrow pretty much whatever their limit is without any kind of financial need. So you can have all of their other stuff paid with. You can go ahead and get the loan if you want it. Now, the school determines how much you can borrow, but it's based on how much your cost of attendance and the other financial aid you receive, and maybe some other factors that can, like I said, they're a little more liberal with that, right? But still, the school is determining how much. Now, you are responsible for paying the interest from the minute you sign the paper, right? You can have that recapitalized back into the principal. In other words, they can take that money that you owe them from the interest, and they can just keep adding it to the tab. Or you can actually start paying your interest while you're in school. Not many people do, but you can. Now, after that deference period, or after the 6 month grace period, you got to pay. They're going to start charging you're going to have the interest charged all along, and then you're going to have to start paying for it, just like the subsidized loans. 6 months after you're out, you can get the same kinds of deferments, but once again, interest is going to be charged on these. Now, as far as government direct loans, does everybody see the difference there, or is there any questions about the difference in these direct student loans from the government? Everybody see how those work? Those are the easiest. You get this master promissory note that you sign, and then you're getting your financial aid. All your loans kind of get tacked onto that. Kind of comes to you right there in your financial aid letter as part of it. Okay. Now, in addition to government loans, there are private loans. Regular old banks and lending institutions of all sorts will lend you or your money or your parents' money. Plus loans, parent loans, right? I got to tell you, be very careful with these. I can't recommend them to most people, especially people who might be members of TRIO, because we're usually not the wealthiest of the population. I know I'm certainly am not. And I know I can't imagine when I was in college, even way back in the ancient times, my parents taking out a loan for me to go. They just weren't able to do that. I can't imagine them doing that. But there are private institutions that will lend you money to go to school. They like this because, once again, it's very hard to get out of it in bankruptcy. So they can lend a lot of money to some unqualified borrowers, and you're on the hook for it. You're going to pay, right? So of course the banks love that. So let's look at the difference between them two. Well, with private loans versus those direct loans, there aren't any limits on the amount borrowed. You can run up a tab. I remember a story about a young woman in Arizona a couple of years ago. She got herself a sociology degree and she paid $150,000 on credit for that. And she was starving to death, living in her parents' basement, just trying to figure out how she was going to provide herself with ramen noodles and thrift store clothing. And that's after getting her degree. Be very careful with private loans. They don't mind if you run up a tab, and later on you probably will. Now, the interest rates on those loans are based on credit worthiness. So if you're like me or my family, when I was doing school, they would probably jack the interest rates up on you a little bit. Now, you want to take out a long-term loan that has a fixed interest rate, that it stays the same. It's not going to be any changes. The federal loans allow you to have that fixed interest rates. Private loans, not so much. They can vary around. And as you remember, that was one of the things that got people in trouble back in 2008 with their housing loans. They would jack up that interest rate, and suddenly the repayment would go from an affordable amount to an unaffordable amount. So be advised if you're getting private loans that have a variable interest rate. There are also interest rates caps on federal student loans. In other words, they can only go so high. By law, can't go any higher. Not so with private loans. Also, some very important things. With the federal loans, with the direct student loans, you can defer the payment. You know, if you're unemployed or if something goes on, you need to take a break from your repayment for a while. The federal loans will allow you. Private loans, not so much. There is a loan forgiveness program for public service. So if you're a teacher or a police officer or a nurse or something like that, and you've run up a tab, well, then you can get some or all of that forgiven after a period of time with federal loans. With private loans, not so much. Short-term negotiated repayment or forbearances, yeah. They will work with you to repay, to take a break, to stretch it out, to pay less, like the income-based repayments. Federal loans will do that. Private loans will not. So you've got to think, how much money am I going to be making? How important is it to me to get this specific degree? And, you know, is it going to be worth it? Will I be able to pay this debt? And in fact, most of the people in college really aren't aware of how profoundly that debt will impact them. 74% don't know how long they will end up paying on their loan. That's 3/4 of the students out there. 53% don't know what their monthly payment will be. You know, it's really hard to budget and see if you can afford something if you don't know how much it's going to cost you. Right. 59% don't know how much of their income will go towards the repayment. Well, it's the same thing. How much will I be making? Well, you need to kind of know that too. You need to look that up. And last but not least, 52% don't know if anyone co-signed their loan. And that would be for private loans. But whoever co-signed it is on the hook for that. So if you can't pay for it and say grandma signed it, then they're going to be taking grandma's stuff. You don't want that. That's why I've included this here. Now I need to include, let me find this. Oh, goodness. I included this link, and what I'm going to do right now, as soon as I can find it, here it is. I'm going to drop this into chat. There you go. Y'all can download that. That is the presentation I'm giving right now. And shoot, I can't find my control screen. There it is. I've dropped into chat the slideshow I'm using for this. It has all the links active on it, so you can just follow up from this. I included here a student loan calculator. You can plug in what your interest rates are. You can plug in how much you're borrowing. It's going to tell you how much you're going to be paying a month. It's a very handy thing. Now, this page has all kinds of stuff. They're trying to sell products, okay? I don't suggest that this organization is a good one. I wouldn't send them any money. I wouldn't buy anything from them. The reason being is that if you have any questions that these guys are going to bring up, you need to talk to me. You need to talk to your talent search upward bound counselor. You need to talk to your guidance counselor, somebody who can give you this for free. Don't pay for this kind of stuff, right? They do have this free calculator up there. I also have a little link there. It says caveat emptor. That is Latin for let the buyer beware. And if you link to that, it talks about some legal mumbo jumbo and stuff. Point is, don't buy anything from these people. That's not why I linked you to it. I'm not recommending their products. But you can go there and calculate your student loans. And I really advise you do something like that. You want to know what's coming out of it. Going to be coming out of your check every month for the next at least 10 years. So when you think about repaying those student loans, right here is the average numbers we're dealing with. If you're looking at a 2-year degree, an associate's degree, the median monthly repayment is $333, and that's going in fairly deep. That's going in fairly deep for that associate's degree. The beautiful thing is so many of our students in this area have some sort of program in their home counties that allows them to get 2 years at a community college free. That is the equivalent, if you were coming to Virginia Tech, for example, of a free $50,000. Actually closer to 60, I think, at today's total cost of attendance. If you're looking at someplace like the University of Richmond, that is a free $120,000 or more, just for going to community college and transferring for 2 years. The average bachelor's degree in America right now comes with a monthly price tag of $450. And that's something they'll be paying for the next 10 years. A doctoral degree, master's doctoral, you can see by this chart, they just keep going up. The more you invest in your education, certainly overall, the more you'll be getting back from it. The questions you have to...
Oh, Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry, I learned this about a master's and I just thought it was really, really cool and important. So with STEM majors and degrees, if you get a teaching aid assistant position with the college, they'll cover your master's tuition and they'll pay you like $30,000 a year.
That's right.
I don't know if it's with the other things though.
Not as an undergraduate, so
but I thought it was relevant.
Although, and thank you for...
Oh, that's for your master's, my bad.
Yeah. But thank you for bringing this up, Julian, because we are going to be talking about financial aid, getting scholarships and such later on. And that includes fellowships and research stuff. And they are available to undergraduates, but you have to be very diligent and look for them. It's not like with master's program. Yeah, if you're going for your PhD, you're getting a master's degree from particularly from a larger school, they're going to give you some sort of teaching fellowship probably. I had a friend who got her PhD at Tech doing that. She taught psychology for a couple of years. They gave her, at the time, and this was some years ago, I think they gave her about $20,000 a year to live on, paid her expenses, and she got a PhD, which is good because she had run up a huge tab getting there. So ultimately, she's coming out, I think, a little better than this, but I'm not sure. I haven't talked to her in some years. Anyway, so what are your reasons to get a degree? And I think this is something you really need to think about. What is it? Is it to get a specific job? Like, I want to do this thing. Is it because you have interest in a specific subject? Like, I really am interested in, astronomy, and I want to study that. Is it for status? Some people think, or I guess maybe it's true. I don't know. I'm not very interested in things like that, but some people think that a certain job will give them a certain social status, and they want that, like being a doctor or something, lawyer. Are you interested in leadership or social change? You know, one of the more important things, especially with first generation students like myself and many of you, is that we do get that education, realizing that we may not get the full benefit of it, because some of that benefit is going to be what we're offering to our children, to our nieces and nephews, to our grandchildren, or to other young people who are going to be following after us. Are you looking for that kind of thing? Are you trying to make a change in the world? And if so, maybe you want to invest a little harder in that and pay a little more for it because it's something that's personally important. Or are you looking for personal growth? You know, and that's a big deal. I have to admit, when I went back to school as an adult, I had a successful career. But one of the big reasons I went is because I wanted to make a better me. And that's part of what education can do for you. Looking at all these reasons to get a degree, you have to figure out which ones are for you. And sadly, right now, you have to attach a kind of a price tag to that. And so, you know, the beautiful thing is the first year or two of college, it's okay to run up, I think, a little bit more of a tab the first year or two, because you're exploring and you're finding out what you want to do and how to do it. No matter what you're going to study, I think it's worth investigating careers to see how that you can apply your interests in the most profitable way, because let's face it, we have to have the money to get by in our society. So let's take this a little further. What's it worth to you? What is this education worth to you? Right now, 53% of the people of recent graduates are unemployed or not using their degree. Now, let's think about that a minute. Surely there has been a lot of unemployment. Right now, unemployment rates are down, so maybe this is old information there. But not using their degree, you know, the interesting thing about getting, say, a bachelor's degree is, yeah, it teaches you a lot about a certain subject, and you know all about that. But it also teaches you some very general skills in terms of how to do research, how to create an idea and support that idea and argue a point, how to write, how to communicate effectively. And usually these days, there's also some element of using media to get your point across and to communicate with others. The point is that getting a bachelor's degree gives you a skill set, and you can apply that to a lot of different jobs, right? So yeah, maybe a lot of people who graduate aren't using their degrees. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. Honestly, I'm not using mine right now. I don't do brain research. So, you know, but I still do this and I still like it. It's all right. I get paid okay for it, right? Student loan delinquencies have been going up. Now, I think that's a function of a bad economy right now, and one always hopes that it's going to get better. Now, there are going to be more people with degrees than there are jobs that require those degrees in 10 years. So that means it's going to be more competitive, but that is in the future, right? So you still have time to get in there and establish yourself right now. 10 years from now, I'm going to have to be telling seniors something else, I guess, right? There's more and more defaults and delinquencies on loans, and that's unfortunate. And equally unfortunate is that the cost of public university just keeps going up. Now, the good news is, I guess, because of COVID, tuition rates have dropped for a couple of years in a row now. Excuse me. But will that hold up? I don't know. I doubt it. The implications of the student loan debt is almost a third of the people will have trouble saving for retirement. A little more than a third feel like they may not be able to take a job within their field just because it doesn't pay enough. 40% of them think they're going to have trouble buying a house. Close to 40% expect to be living with their parents. A quarter of the people, they're going to have to postpone getting married or having a long-term partnership. And about 30% are looking at delaying children, not being able to have kids right away. When you think about getting an education at any level, one of the things you really have to think about is this money that I'm investing. Am I going to make money back? Will there be a return on their investment? And I suggest you look very closely at the chart that I have up here right now. The orange means people are actually losing more than they're paying. They're not getting anything back for the return on investment. And there's a formula to figure this out. I can't, it's not completely straightforward, but the idea is if they've invested all this money, are they getting something back for it? Now, it turns out that in engineering, you're pretty much sure bet you're going to make more money than you've invested in that. So if you're looking at a career in engineering, you're in good shape. If you're looking at transportation, construction, architecture, that kind of thing, once again, business, heck, less than 5% of people are losing out when they get a business degree. Ditto computer sciences and economics and math. By nursing, maybe 10% aren't getting the kind of return they want. But when you get up into education, my goodness, that's almost a third. And when you get into things like philosophy, you know, it's like 60% of the people aren't getting a return on their investment, and almost 70% from visual arts and music. Now, along with that, some people are doing quite well, and you can see at the other end of the scale that quite well, but the people who are doing the best, once again, are the people who have the lowest or the greatest return on the investment. That says that engineering, architecture, business, computers, and math, as well as health sciences, are the ones. That's where the money is right now. Those are kind of the safe bets in terms of taking out loans, going to school, paying for it. Now, I have listed, and I hope you have downloaded the financial aid last thoughts PowerPoint that I've put up here, because I've got a bunch of links here. One of them is to the Virginia 2-year college transfer grant. Basically, what that means is if you go to a community college for 2 years and then transfer to selected state colleges, and you can read them here in Virginia, that they're going to give you free money for the next 2 years to help pay for going to that college. They're going to a couple $1,000s a year, but you know, hey, and it varies from school to school. Every year they have a new application for you to do this. So if you decide to go to community college to get your first 2 years, that means you're going to get a discount on the next 2 years as well. I have here a link also to the Academic Common Market. The Academic Common Market is an agreement between all the states in the area, right? So that if you're living in Virginia and say you want to go to school to learn a specific subject that they only teach in Tennessee, we can go to Tennessee and get in-state tuition. It's kind of an agreement between the states to share the rarer subject matters that they offer. So if you're looking at something that you're having trouble finding, you're going to have to go to North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, one of the West Virginia, one of the surrounding states to get it. Look into the Academic Common Market. You may find that will save you a lot of money. Of course, number 3, I expect all of you to have a FastWeb account by now and be applying to the scholarships there. There's lots of them, and they will, you know, they're based on who you are. So you go in and you fill out that personality questionnaire. They start sending you scholarship links. So FastWeb, I hope you all have a FastWeb account. And last but not least, I have included a link from the State Council of Higher Education of Virginia State student scholarships. All of them well worth checking out because free money is good money, and there's still some time for some of these scholarships, right? Now, let's think about your award letter. You know, we've talked about the loans, and I've given you all this dreadfulness. Let's shift gears a little bit. So you have applied to colleges, you're getting accepted. And one of the things you do when you're deciding which college you're going to go to is you compare the offers that they're giving you for financial aid. Now, the offers, okay, Courtney, you take care. Download this and check out the links. Get you some money for school, right? The award letter, you need to know what you're looking at, and you need to be able to compare apples and apples. And sometimes they do some things that are a little squiggy, a little questionable. Sometimes they do things that, I don't know, it just seems like it's almost false advertising, right? I'll give you an example here. A couple of things you need to really look for. You need to look at the net cost of your education. How much is it going to cost you after, you've paid your financial aid? After all that financial aid is paid up, how much is that going to cost? And how much of that are you going to have to shell out of pocket? You really need to know every semester what you are going to have to contribute, if anything, because if financial aid doesn't cover your cost, it's not like you can just say, well, sorry. I mean, you've got to come up with that money or they won't allow you to enroll. Now, some schools will allow you to pay off on a monthly basis, but you have to pay it off over the semester in most cases. They won't let you do long-term billing. So very, very important to make sure that you're not charging boldly ahead into something that you're literally not going to be able to pay for, even with all the financial aid you're getting. So it's very, very important that you are aware of that out-of-pocket cost. Now, I'm going to show you a financial aid letter right now. And here's some things that you need to look for. Now, these guys I'm not happy about because they didn't do some of the stuff they should have done. They weren't clear about some things. Let's take a look at it. We've got the budget for the year. They've gone through the tuition fees, the room and board, all of that good stuff. And they've added it all up so that the total cost for the 1920 school year from West Liberty University is $23,171. Now, the available aid. What they're saying here is that, well, we're going to give you, for each of the semesters, we're going to give you about $3,050 of Pell Grant. We're available for a work study. You're going to get $1,700 of that. We're going to give you a subsidized loan. Those are the kinds you don't pay interest on, right? And we're going to give you an unsubsidized loan as well. And we're going to give you a foundation scholarship. Now, I'm glad they did throw that in there. Most of the colleges you'll be applying to, be they community college or four-year school, if you're coming in with some okay grades and you've got some stuff going for you, they're probably going to throw a little money your way. Now, more of this happens at private schools even than public schools, but they still happen at public schools. When I was at community college as a young feller, I got some of these foundation grants. When I went back to school as a middle-aged feller and went to Radford University, I got some of these fellowship grants too. It was great. So they do that. Now, the thing is these guys from West Liberty haven't told us our out-of-pocket expenses. A couple of things are missing. One thing, it says that this is all based on the response to our FAFSA. You can see it says that there, but it doesn't put any numbers in there. What I would hope they would do is that they would take this total financial aid here, subtract it from the total estimated cost here, and then if there's an estimated family contribution, remove that from whatever the remainder of that is, so that you can see what your out-of-pocket expense would be. So with the $23,000, take away the 17, that means you've got about $5,000 you've got to account for. You as a student have to budget that one. That is the kind of the net cost, right? And you're going to subtract to that your family contribution, which mom and dad are going to pay, but maybe not, and see what you yourself are going to have to come up with. That's how it works, all right? Now, if you're going to accept it, you need to check off accept it and send it back to them, sign it. If you're not going to accept it, that's fine. If you're going to accept it, do the same thing. Say, don't want it, send it back to them. And sometimes you want to accept it, but say, no, I don't want this. A component of it. Like you're not going to have time for a work study, which is a bad call, but maybe you don't. Or you don't want that unsubsidized loan. You're just going to go, get a pizza delivery job and come up with that kind of money. Okay, that's how to do. But you need to get this signed, tell them what you're going to do, and send back to them right away. It's very important. But like I said, you got to look at the different offers you've got. If you've applied to 3, 4, 5, however many schools, been accepted to all of them, then they're all going to send you this financial aid offer, and you've got to compare it. A couple of things to consider. If you've applied to a lot of private schools in Virginia, if you decide to go to a Virginia school, you're going to get I think they call it the VTAG grant. It's right off the top. They take like $5,000 off the tuition for going to a Virginia private school. Like I said, private schools often offer a real range of foundation scholarships that aren't there at other schools. And in addition, they tend to give more merit scholarships for people with a little lower GPAs. So if you've got a kick in GPA, you sign up to a private school, it's very possible that you may end up paying less out of your pocket than you would to go to a public school, even if you don't pay anything at all, even though the public school on paper is half the price of that private school, right? Just because you've gotten so much extra financial aid. And that's why I keep saying, please, please, please apply to these scholarships. Here's an example, for example, of 3 different colleges. If you look at the cost of attendance for each one and the types of aid offered, you can compare it, see what you're getting. And then ultimately, even though in College C, you're getting $30,000 in scholarships, you're still going to have to pay almost $10,000 out of pocket. Whereas going to this cheaper school here, you're going to have $500 to buy pizza during the semester. Especially if you take on a work study job. So you can see a lot of difference there. I guess the take-home message from all of this, is quite simple. You're at the point right now where you're getting ready to accept the colleges that you're going to and say, yeah, I want to come study at your school. You're also at the point where you're going to be talking to the financial aid people and saying, yes, I will accept your financial aid. I just want you to be clear up front what you're doing. That is, what kind of loans you're getting, if you're getting loans, how much they're going to cost you in the long run, and have a sense of how that plays into your goals and plans for life. A lot of times I know that even now, I say, well, I'm going to do this thing with my life, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And then there's a box there in my plan that's kind of like, there's going to be a miracle, and then it'll all be good. Well, I'm still waiting for that miracle, and I'm still paying off my student loans after 20 years. And you know what? I only owe $15,000 more than I did when I borrowed it. Think about that. Anyway, think about what you're doing, what you want to do. One of the things I talk to my students about is that you know what interests you, and you should certainly do something that interests you in life. But there are many ways to take those interests and turn them into something else. Art is one of my favorites. You can be an artist, you can be a painter, you can be a sculptor, you can be any kind of artist. But you can take that interest in art and you can take it up a level and get into something like graphic design. And so you can build logos and be part of a team. You're still doing artistic things, but it's for something that is easier to harvest money. Well, you can also take that and add a little bit of a business degree. And before you know it, you're an advertiser. And then, yeah, you're doing artistic, very creative things, possibly across many different media types. And you're getting paid for it as well. So think about those kind of things. That's kind of my rant for the day. Does anyone have questions or something that's concerning them about all this? Something you want to talk about? I don't know how to take the silence. Is it good or is it? Is the silence good or is it a sign of understanding or is it a sign of I've put you to sleep? It's a terrifying thing to think about. Everyone awake out there? Has everyone started thinking about how much loans are going to be taken? Anyone thinking about that? Looking at it? Starting to run those numbers kind of in the big picture? You're just kind of waiting to see what happens. My greatest hope is that you can find as much free money as possible. Please take advantage of things like the ACE program or any free college you can get. Please. I guess it's a little too late now to do any AP classes, but hopefully you've gotten some of those to get all the credits you can. You know, one thing I didn't think about mentioning, but I guess it is worth mentioning, is that one thing you could do is certainly go to community college and then start looking around for jobs that will pay for your education. Now, it takes a little longer to get done that way, to be certain, but it allows you to gain some practical life experience while you're doing it. And it's also debt-free. Now, a lot of Carillion, for example, the medical corporation, will pay for people to do that. If you get involved in some of their programs, they will pay for you to go to nursing school. All they ask is that you work for them for a while afterwards. You have to sign a contract to do that. When you're actually going out and looking for jobs, even part-time jobs, ask about any kind of educational benefit. Some places have them, and it is one of the most important benefits you can get, because once again, it will keep you from accruing the kind of debt that can actually stand in your way in life later on. All right. What about you, Callie? Have you had the kind of dreadful experiences I talk about, or am I being a doomsayer?
Honestly, I have been very fortunate and I have not had to take out any student loans. So I don't know if I can really speak on this or be helpful. I never really had to take out scholarships or anything. I've just had a really fortunate experience, and my parents are great. So that's really all I can say on that.
Very fortunate. My hat's off. I'm glad for you. Julian, what you got to ask, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, I applied to Georgia Tech, and I turned my stuff in late, so I think that might have been why. But they said they offered me a pathway program, where if I go to a college other than them, have a certain grade point average, and do some other requirements, then I get a guaranteed transfer in for the next year. And I think that's like the best thing for me to do, because I'm pretty sure it'd be really expensive since it's out of state, but it is a really good school. So I kind of have like, there's like three options on the table, because I wanted to do like a cheap one because like it'd save money. And so there's Radford University and
You're breaking up a little bit. I heard Radford University.
oh, sorry, the train is
Yeah.
bad at times.
I'm assuming you're asking, if you're going to transfer.
No, definitely not.
Go ahead, Julian.
Oh yeah, uh, but I don't have their A package yet, and then I could do community college, and it would be free because Pell Grant, and then there's another college in New York that I only have to pay like $2,000 out of pocket to go to.
Yeah, you got to figure out the experiences you want in the meantime. if you, since they offered you a pathway, and I suggest it probably is because you replied late to them. You know, community college, I guess, would transfer in maybe. If you're looking at Georgia Tech, though, you're looking at engineering. That's why community college may actually be an attractive option, Julia. There is an engineering pre-engineering program at New River anyway, and they have a matriculation agreement with us here at Virginia Tech. I would imagine that whatever you're taking there would work well for Georgia Tech as well. I think they're both top-notch engineering schools.
Mhm.
One thing to think about is if you're going to go to Georgia Tech, you need to get in-state residency. How to go about that, I don't know. But you might want to check with their Council of Higher Education. Oh, there went Julian. I guess I'll have to talk to Julian when I see him at school next time. But anyway, yeah, the transfer from community college to other schools, like I said up front, will save you a lot of money. And some colleges obviously are having have various ways to get to where they're going. And that's okay. Everyone has their own place to navigate that. Well, I hope Julian enjoys DC today. Wonder how things are going in the main room. Should we go over and crash the see?
I heard from Annie and she said that they were just about done. So
that's a good thing to know. I guess I went on a powerhouse binge with this stuff and spewed it all out. The thing that I think is a good resource, and I've put some links into the PowerPoint that I shared with everyone, is the State Council of Higher Education in Virginia. That would be www.chev.edu. State Council of Higher Education in Virginia. Yeah. Sent that to the wrong person. There we go. You can go there and find all kinds of stuff. There's information on everything. I mean, and if you research it well, you'll find all kinds of stuff. All the scholarship pages and stuff I listed came from there. They can give you cool information about every school, community college in Virginia of all sorts. Good guys to work with there. Okay. So with the State Council, you can find scholarships. Like I said, please set up an account at FastWeb. I can't say enough about that because scholarships are plenty there. And also hit up your guidance counselor right now. Find out what kind of scholarships are being offered from your school. The schools that you're applying to, write to them, write to their foundation, email them, go ahead, get involved there, get your hands dirty. Find out what kind of scholarships are available there and what you need to do to get them. It's possible that many schools, it's not well publicized that there's some sort of financial aid stuff you need to fill out with the school. Being prompt on all this is always a good idea too, because financial aid is a first come, first serve kind of thing in a lot of cases. And just be creative, look around out there, see what's available. I say we go.
yeah, I actually just got a text that they're all done. So we can
Okay. Timing was about right. Almost right. Anyway, let's go back to the main room, guys. See you over there.
Okay, if you do, we've got a couple minutes. While we're finishing up, while everybody's coming in, if anybody has any general questions or concerns, we'll have a moment or two to be able to answer those. If not, you can always email us. I'll put in the chat, Upward Bound. I can type today. Emails. If you're not sure who your person is, you can always email Upward Bound or Talent Search emails and get your questions answered. All right, do we have? Yeah, Joe put his email in. Very good. All right, we still have some folks who are working their way back in, it looks like. But we wanted to just take a couple minutes and talk about summer and things that are happening. So pretty soon we are going to have information both for Talent Search and for Upward Bound on summer programming. The summer programming is a little bit different for each program, but we wanted to let you know just kind of a sneak peek of what we're thinking about. But we're going to begin to send out schedules and sign up sheets and all those things as soon as we can. Upward Bound sign up sheets are probably going to come out sooner than Talent Search. So typically, I'll start with Talent Search because it's maybe a little less intense, but it's a lot of fun. We will do a lot of different activities, and we're still kind of trying to decide what those activities will be. So if you know you have an interest in one versus the other, please share it with Kara and Joe, and we can make sure we try to add it in. Last summer, we did a million things ranging from learning how to code computers, code spheros, to cooking classes, art class, financial literacy, which is how to manage your money. And we're going to do probably some college visit trips. We usually do a middle school retreat. We'll probably do that again. Joe, anything else on your mind of something that you're thinking we're probably going to do this summer?
All kinds of sciencey stuff. We've been thinking about animals and how fun that would be. We've been, I want to have some more cooking myself, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm game for about anything. I'm excited to just be around students again instead of stuck inside a computer.
There's a lot of students that were interested in journaling, creative writing, which I'm interested in doing. So maybe.
Absolutely. So I think we've got a lot of different ways that we can approach it. And most of these experiences, we're hoping that they'll be in person again versus virtual. There may be a few that are virtual, but most of them we're going to hopefully have in person. And they're usually shorter day-long workshops, 3 days, maybe a week. They're, for shorter time periods than what we'll see with Upward Bound. So now with Upward Bound and Talent Search students, if you're interested in this, there are different admission criteria for Upward Bound and Talent Search. But if you're interested in exploring this as an option, let us know and we can talk to you about it and see if you might be eligible to flip over if you wanted to. So in Upward Bound, we do up to 6 weeks in the summer where you get a chance to live on the Virginia Tech campus and kind of get a taste of what college life is like. You get to live in a residence hall, eat in a dining hall. You get to take classes that are structured like what a college class would be, but they're non-credit. But I can promise you, we try to run it in a way that it does not feel like you're in summer school. We don't have grades. We don't have final tests. We don't do any of that stuff. It's project-based learning. So we take a project or a problem and we learn that subject based around that. So it's much more hands-on and involved. And that is up to 6 weeks. The students that we're going to offer full 6 weeks to be on campus will be those that are interested in pursuing the Unite program, which is a subset. It's to help students who are underrepresented pursue fields in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, math. And if I were that student, I'd be like, oh, I'm social sciences. Don't let it scare you. I promise it's a lot of fun. There are 2 very specific classes that we're going to have our Unite students take. One is architecture. You get to learn how to design a house. And Dr. Cobb, who used to be an Upward Bound student at Upward Bound at Virginia Tech, now teaches at North Carolina A&T. And he's designed a class to teach you all how to build his mother's house, which is kind of cool, right? And then we also have someone who's going to teach neuropsychology, which is also really cool. But that Unite program pays $100 a week for participation. So not only do you get a chance to live on the Virginia Tech campus for free for up to 6 weeks, we will pay you $100 a week to participate. For students who don't stay for 6 weeks, you can attend 3 weeks, middle of June to beginning of July, or 3 weeks after July 4th to kind of the end of July. So you would have that choice. Because there's a lot of athletic camps and cheerleading camps and band camps and family vacations and those kinds of things that, or when you spend time, with a parent that you don't live with, like there's a lot of things that can go into it. So you would have an option to attend a 3-week session if you don't think that the full 6-week would be right for you. You would still get a stipend for participation. The amount will be determined, like if we get approved by the Department of Education to pay what we did last summer, it's $200 a month. So theoretically, if you do Unite for 6 weeks, you can get $600, and there'd be an additional $400 if we get approved for it from Upward Bound. At a minimum, you would get $60 a month, but we're hoping we can be back in the $200 range, but that'll require official approval. So if the Upward Bound summer contract will hopefully be coming out next week, we'll get that to you guys. Andrew's working on some information to put in there, and we'll hopefully get it out to you guys next week. And so get it back to us as quickly as you can. Graduating seniors, I think we still have 1 or 2 more left here. If you are interested in taking Summer Academy at Virginia Tech, talk to us. We had a deadline that was this past week. If you are interested, let us know and we'll see if you'd be eligible and if we are able to get you in, but we're really at the point where it's kind of do or die with it. But students who are graduating this year have the opportunity to take up to 6 credits through the Virginia Tech Summer Academy this summer, even if you're not attending Virginia Tech in the fall. And again, we cover the cost. So we cover tuition and fees, room and board, we'll buy your books, the whole 9 yards. If you decide you want to participate in Summer Academy. In general, you have to have a 3.0 GPA or higher. And so Upward Bound students should have received a lot of information about this already. Check your emails. If you haven't seen it, talk to your person and, we can get you another copy of it. Talent Search students, if you're interested in that, we would need to get to review to see if you're eligible this week, and try to move you over. The only folks who would not be able to do it are any students in Galax or Grayson. Everybody else, we can look and see if you'd be eligible. Okay, Julian, that's good to know. We'll follow through with you on that this week. Okay. Other questions or concerns about anything in life in general? Any other announcements staff want to throw in there for the good of the order? Everybody good?
Emily's interested. Emily Smith and Jason Lynn.
All righty. Got it. Okay. Other questions or concerns? Announcements? Okay, I think we're good. Appreciate you all hanging out with us this morning, and hope you all have a great start to spring. And if you need anything, just reach out. We're here for you.